Today I'm working on a 2005 and a half Volkswagen Jetta 1.9. I am going to be changing this piece and the shifter selector shaft, which is this. This goes on top of the transmission in whatever fashion. It's underneath your air intake and your battery box. Can't really see it right now, but I will go ahead and remove those, and I will attempt to take this out and put this new one in. My splines on my old one in here and on here, this shaft wore out, so these are both 10 millimeter, or probably 3/8 or 7/16, but a 10 millimeter will work. Go ahead and take your battery out. Underneath your battery, there's that bolt. You will have to remove that to get this battery tray out. Allen head to take this battery or air box out. If I could talk today. Go ahead and take our pliers. Disconnect that clip. Everything just pops out. So on the bottom here, and right here, sit down on those two plugs, so you got to kind of be a little aggressive and pop that out. You got two hoses that go on here. Hose here, which is this little guy, it just slips right on, and then this hose with this clip sits on here, right behind you, your map sensor. All right. So now, as you can see, right there is that piece. So now, just for ease, I'm going to pop this bolt out, and this whole battery tray will be out of my way. It is a 10 millimeter. Now, there should be 3 10 millimeter bolts. Be one here, one right underneath this cable here, and one right there. I already took these 2 out, and I didn't put them back in because the heads of them were so rusty I almost didn't get them out. The reason why they were already out, I already took all this stuff apart to replace what I thought was wrong, which was the clutch. But once I had it all apart, I realized that that was not the problem. That it, in fact, was the shifter selector, gear selector. Alright, so that just kind of wiggles out of there. Set that to the side. Pull our battery cables out of the way here. Set those to the side. Now, we can see this piece. So you got these clips, as you can see with this one here. If I can zoom in here, you take this and it pulls out, slides right off, real simple. And then this cable pops right off, and I'll put this right back on, just like that. And you have two of them. Ouch, I have to use a screwdriver for that one. So you can see how much this moves, and this nut right there does not move. This bolt here is not supposed to be here. That was my makeshift for the moment situation that I used. So now we're going to go ahead and remove that. There's not a tool. This is a 13 millimeter. That comes out just like that, but you will not have this piece unless yours is bad like mine and tried to fix it. Hopefully we can fix it right. I'm going to go ahead and pop this other clip off down here. This holds this bracket in. Get this out of our way. Alright, got that out of the way. Now, there are two bolts that are triple squares. One on each side. If you don't have a set of triple squares for a Jetta, you should probably get one. There's quite a few spots to take them. Go ahead and see how to get this clip off here. That's in a really bad spot. Might have to go underneath to get that one off, because that piece is pretty long. Don't want to break the clip. Don't know if I can reach it from up here to get it off. See if I can get underneath it and get it off. Alright, zoom you in here. Alright, so this clip slides out. Put my screwdriver right in here and just pushed it out. And then it comes right out. So now it's the interesting part to see how hard this is to get out. So here's the set of tools I'm talking about. Set of sockets. Let's see what size I need here. That should hopefully be it. So it's a 10M. I don't know if that stands for, or M10, sorry. So that's the size. Let's see how hard they are to get off. Okay, so they're not super tight on mine. Go ahead and take these out. And save these because you're going to use them for the new one. Alright, so both of those are out. Put those to the side. So now, I don't know how hard it is to get that out, or how it comes out at all. So we'll see. This does have this collar that sits down inside a bore, and I have no idea if anything has to spin because of where this is at or where this is at, or if there's anything involved in that. So hoping I don't have to take the transmission apart to actually change this. There's a couple of pry bars. Okay, so it appeared to move just a little bit. So clearly it's sitting on something. So now I need to grab a pair of, there they are. Let's see if I can move this around a little bit. See if I can get it to, okay, there we go. Alright, so there's the old one. Got that out. Boy, does that smell delicious. Now I understand how it goes, so let's go ahead and put the new one in. And try to stick this one back down in here. Wiggle it around until we get it in. Oh, not do that. Okay. Alright. So that's back in, so we'll go ahead and put our 2 bolts back in. Put those back in. I'm sure there's proper torque settings for this. I do not know them. Do not over tighten those too tight, because they were not that tight to take, or hard to take apart. So you don't want to strip anything out with everything being, a lot of it being aluminum. So we got that done. So that's good and back in place. Go ahead and put this back on. Good. Now, something you got to watch for. This is just a little cap. I don't know if it's a breather. I imagine it's probably just a breather. This is just an open hole. This came right off the other one, same spot. Just pop it off, pop it back on. There you go. Now we can put this bracket right here back through that hole. Oh, interesting. There's a bushing right there. I'm gonna have to try to get that bushing out of the other one. See how hard that is. So right here is the bushing. Must be 2 separate bushings. Went right through. Just barely catch a lip. Push on it. There's number 2. Nothing too fancy. But definitely going to have them. So we'll just wipe these off and put it in the new one. Or just like that. There's one. And just slide in there just like that. That's not too bad to change. Go ahead and slide this back in here, like so. Put your clip back on. I really like these clips. They're very easy to change or adjust, move, whatever you want to call it. Go ahead and put this back on. Put that clip back on. I'm not sure. I might go ahead and change, since I have a new one of these. I might go ahead and take that one off and use this one. Should be fairly simple to do. Alright, just like that. Pull this clip back. That slides right off. There may not be anything wrong with this one, but we'll go ahead and change it anyway since I have a new one. If it didn't come with a new one, I wouldn't change it. Since it does, I will. Pop just like that. Goes back on. And one other bushing. This is a bushing as well. This bushing was stuck, but it goes right in here and slides back and forth. Pops right on this little ball, like so. Now, I have to figure out where this goes. I think I can do. So that's locked in place. So to find your setting for where this needs to be when you put this back on, there's a little piece. I'll grab the old one. It's a little plastic piece right here. Just goes right inside. No big deal. You can slide the shaft up and down, and when you find the right spot, as long as it's not in gear, it'll be in neutral, the neutral position. So there's neutral. You can slide right there's neutral, should be. Yeah, okay, so there's neutral. You can shove this up and down. When pushing this up and down, you push in on this, and you'll see here in a minute when I find it, you can turn it up. So it'll be out, push in, turn up. Do not force this. This is very easy. Just push up and down on this, push in, turn it. Real simple. As you can see when I let off this, see how it popped up? It's a little easier to do when it's actually in there. Push down, turn it. Now it's locked into the spot to find your shifter cable lengths. So now I will go in the car and I will show you inside. You have to do another alignment inside the car with your shifter. It might be dark in here. So you take your shifter boot off. Pretty simple, just pop it back, pull this up. See this here hole and that there hole? You gotta line those two up. Give me just a second here. Sorry for the bad video. You can find something that fits inside these holes nice and snug. That one's too big, the other one should work. So you find the one that fits in here, and you move this until it falls in place. Probably want to try to get something that's a little tighter than that if you can. So that way it doesn't move around, because this is your alignment for your cables. This is what you do when you need to readjust your shifter. If you're grinding first gear, or you can't put it in reverse, or fifth gear is giving you problems, you might want to try this. Switch all that around, put that all in where it needs to be. And we'll go back out here. So now everything's in place. So now we can put this where it needs to be. So let me reset my camera here. Just a second. Kind of tricky to do here to make sure this doesn't fall down. My camera's a little heavier than my mount is. There's an arrow here. I'm going to guess that the arrow goes in line with this dial, or the lever that you put it in position with. So to make my life a little easier, I'm going to unclip this piece again, slide it out of my way. I'm going to go ahead and put this into a position. I don't see an arrow anywhere else, so I don't think it goes anywhere specific. So we're going to put it right there in that spot. Now, go ahead and slide this back into position. Now that's back in position. So everything should be in position. Oh, there's a interesting fact of the day, which isn't a big deal. Because we still have it, but I don't think this came with a nut. No big deal. We'll use the old one. It might not fall on my head again, and I don't know how many times you've seen the back of my head. So we'll go ahead and put this on. As you can see, it is not the tightest thing in the world to begin with. So it's probably a good reason why it wore out and fell apart on me the first time. Go ahead and tighten that back down. Give her nice and snug. And now you take these clips, one here, one over here, and you pull them loose. I was told in a previous video about this is to use a drill bit, but I found out the hard way that just snug, don't want to obviously hurt anything, just to make sure that this drill bit does not fall inside, because it is a through hole. There's nothing stopping it. I used a 3/16. That is pretty good. I'll go back out here and set this back up out here like that. Of course, this is in my way right now, but you want to pull the slop out of these things. I just don't remember which way. Once that's done and over with, just release that, just like so. Make sure everything's tightened. Now you can pull this plastic piece back out and you can go ahead and take your drill bit out. Once you take your drill bit out, you can test all the gears to make sure they work right. Make sure everything goes in good. You can do that out here as well. Everything appears to be working correct. Everything is tight. Everything is plugged back in. Once you take the drill bit out, test your gears. You can either do this before you test the gears or after. Go ahead and put your plastic piece and cover back down over top of your shifter boot, and put that all back in place. And we will go ahead and put the battery box back in place, put the air box back in place, reconnect the battery, reconnect the air box, and we will take it for a test drive. Back in place. Go ahead and put our air box back in place. Make sure battery cable's up here. Remember, these two hoses have to go back on, just like so. Put all that back in place. Good to go. Good to go. Boop. If you have it, I do not anymore. There's a piece that goes here and connects right here. You may have to take that off. You may have to put that back on. I do not have that, so I need to get a new one. Go ahead and reconnect all your connections. That's interesting. Where's that go? Oh, there it is. Go ahead and plug that back in. That's good. Go ahead and put your plastic molding for your battery box back in. Slides in these two side grooves. And there it is. Back in place. Go ahead and grab your battery. Make sure you're okay, here we go. Just came out of place, no big deal. Smack it right back in there. Just like so. Now we can go ahead and put our terminals back on. Ooh, she's angry. Oh, I see what I did. Alright, so don't do what I just did. Which is probably why I'm having these problems. This red and black cable actually have to go on the inside of this plastic. This would kind of, you know, make sense. That way there we go. Sits in there, right? It's not perfect, but it's back in there. Go ahead and tighten those back down. Like I said before, 10 millimeter. Sorry guys, I didn't realize that I didn't have you in a good spot. Alright, so you go ahead and tighten your terminals back down, put that back down, tighten your bolt that's down here back down, your Allen bolt. That is a number 5. I should have done this before I put the battery box back in. Mistake on my part, getting ahead of myself. That's alright though. Alright, there we go. It's all back in, that's all back in. Go ahead and put this back on. Perfect. Good to go. All fixed. We hope. Go ahead and clean up all of our tools. We'll take it for a test drive and see what happens.